I think it's very important that all the systems operate well together and trust one another. When there's a break in the system, then the whole thing can crumble because the people, especially those people putting their lives on the line, on the ground, suddenly feel vulnerable. If you've got to watch your back as well as your front, it becomes a very difficult situation.
In your career, was there ever a moment where the intelligence was compromised in some way, with a leak, which put you at risk or the operation at risk?
Well, I do remember when we went down to Ascension Islands on the way to the Falklands War. It was our mission to go into Argentina and take out the jets on the ground in Argentina. And it got delayed because Ronald Reagan was trying to not to extend the war onto the mainland. And something came out in the newspapers, I think it was The Sun, saying that SAS soldiers were waiting on Ascension Island to go into Argentina. And although the mission never actually took place in the end, it compromised it anyway. So it would have made it much, much harder. And after that, the Argentinians started to move the jets from airfield to airfield, so it probably prevented the mission taking place.
You're talking about events that happened more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
How has technology increased the risk of leaks?
I think technology makes it easier for people to download and carry information and move it quickly. So IT security is becoming more and more important in the world. We've got this huge intelligence war against terrorism going on all the time, interspersed with small periods of extreme violence. And any weakness in the system there is something that affects everywhere. It can't be limited to a small area.
Some people would argue that the public has a right to know what's going on. How do you get the balance right between letting people know enough but not too much to actually compromise the operation and the people involved?
I think the public has a right to know about things that affect their personal individual liberty and freedom. But when the people are out there defending your freedoms, then you must give them a certain amount of leeway and believe in their integrity and allow them to carry on with their jobs, because everybody that knows creates a gap in the wall.
How good was the kind of intelligence that you had to work upon when you were in the military?
Well, we were very fortunate to have a long period of time building up our intelligence services in Northern Ireland, and one of the greatest weapons we had was Special Branch in Northern Ireland at the time. They managed to build a system of bringing in large amounts of information, making it specific so that you could target your enemies very, very accurately and undermining your enemy's ability to operate. So the British Armed Forces and the British Police Forces and intelligence services over the last 50, 60 years, ever since the Second World War, have always been involved in some conflict somewhere. Cyprus, Palestine, Northern Ireland and so on. So they've got a wealth of experience which they built upon, and it's very, very fortunate because it's helping us with this war that we're fighting today.